Welcome back, viewers. Today, we're going to talk about how to close or culminate your email. And we have already discussed a little about this, a brief about this in the previous modules. So here, when we are talking about ending an email, you have to make sure that it's equally important as the beginning of the email. Your ending should be done in the right way. Do not forget to end the closing. That means once you have closed and finished your information in the main body, the closure is important. It shouldn't be skipped. Consider your relationship with the recipient, and depending on that, you can mention the closure. For instance, you have to mention about your full name, your full details should be present there, along with your organizational details and contact information if you're writing a formal email. Whereas if you're sharing an email with your friend, the closure can simply have a small greeting along with your first name. Whereas if it's a semi-formal email somewhere where you're talking to your colleague, your full name would be needed there. Even if you're friends, in terms of colleagues, not friends the other way around, avoid any unprofessional closings in a business letter. See ya later, XOXO, etc. These are a big no in the professional world. Avoid using just your first name or a nickname unless you are corresponding to a close friend or colleague. So when we are talking about your nickname, definitely people around you would be knowing that. But in the professional setting, it's a big no to be used. Then what needs to be included in the closing email? So when we are talking about this closing, it needs to be a proper closing. You need to end it properly. Use a professional email closing unless you are sending an email to a very close friend. So here, when we are talking about a close friend, that does not mean an office friend. We are talking about a person whom you're close otherwise. When we are talking about colleagues, informal or semi-formal, out of the two, semi-formal tone should be used rather than simple informal. Be sure to include your full name, that is your first as well as your last name, rather than just using your first name or your nickname. Include your current job title and the company. This can be prefixed into your email, especially if you are corresponding with someone outside the organization. That's utmost important because in this type of communication, people get to know each other. It is always useful to include contact information at the end of every email send off. Because if the person needs to call you to inquire about things, the number should be present there. So here, when we are talking about the closing, we have to make sure the greetings are there in terms of the closing lines, not the introductory lines, along with your full name. Talking about a professional email closing, the few professional lines that can be used before the closure are all the best, best regards, best wishes, fond regards, kind regards, looking forward to hearing from you, regards, sincerely, etc. Post this, you have to make sure that you're mentioning your full name there. Talking about a semi-professional closing, wherein we're writing to a close colleague we've been working for a number of years, or we're talking about a colleague we have good relationships with. Cheers, faithfully, many thanks, warmly, yours truly, etc. Again, followed by your full name along with the organizational details. How not to end an email? So when we are talking about your closings, these are the closings that should be avoided, that are a big no in the business related settings. The first one turns out to be love, talk soon, see ya later, see you, XOXO, thanks, hugs, etc. We are writing it in the professional setting. That's the reason these words are supposed to be avoided. When we are talking about the email construction, there's a specific method that needs to be followed.